Hello, happy Monday. I'm Greg Dixon. I'm here with Betty Withrow, Total Traffic and Conversion. And today we're going to talk about the magic of outlining. So for Betty had in mind with books, but it also applies to courses because we have some real examples that we lived through this weekend for outlining. So yeah. So my experience is I spent a good part of my life in school, university settings, and I never really appreciated the value of outlining until I was a few years into my um, college education. But when I did discover it, it makes things go a lot better, a lot smoother. You can clarify things, and once you've got a good outline, the rest of it is just it's easy. You just fill out the gaps. So you wanted to talk about this. What is your perspective on this as a book coach and a book ghostwriter and all those things?
Well, definitely an outline is a foundational piece. I like to make an outline of anything that I'm thinking about doing because it helps me to think more clearly. You have all these ideas, they're out there roaming around and swirling around and doing all these things. But when you put them into an outline, you have a structure, and that makes the creative process flow a lot more easily and keeps you on track because the ideas will start jockeying for position and saying no this, no that. And I mean, for myself, I'm really systems oriented, and having the outline is key. um, and very often when I work with authors, that really helps them to get their idea to land. And even more difficult subjects can be tackled once you have the outline into place. Let's see. Well, there's different kinds of outlines. So if you have a narrative, you want to have a timeline outline. You could have a character outline in character development. That would be something like a list of characters, each one as a heading under Roman numeral 1, for example. And then what are the characteristics of that character, and how are you going to illustrate them? How are you going to describe them visually? How do they talk? How do they walk? And so on, so that they come alive for the reader, and you're covering all these points as you're developing your characters. If you're developing a nonfiction work, you want to have it so that the structure makes sense for your topic. Like you have a business book, you would like to have a first an introduction of the topic, then what's the general scope of the work, and then when you get clear with that, then you can say, okay, I'm going to break this down into a process of step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on, each one of those being a piece of the outline. And then you break down each one of those pieces into smaller pieces. The idea is that you break everything down into as many littlest, tiniest bites as you can, because that way you are not becoming overwhelmed. You move from one item to the next, and an outline can even serve as a checklist as well. And then, as you mentioned, Greg, using that to develop a course is really terrific. Over the weekend, I worked with one of our clients on doing that, getting all of the notes for her various modules into place. And it was very helpful in making sure that the course was comprehensive and covered the topics that she wanted to cover, not more and not less.
Yeah, that's perfect. And going back to your comment about progressive detail, like I think you might have received one of my emails where I get up in the morning and have this big, huge bulleted list outline for something. Can be comprehensive, right?
Yeah.
But just and you don't really need a fancy tool. Just like email with a bulleted list can do. Then you got different levels. And what you're talking about with progressive details is you start at the top levels, like the main top level, and then you can bring that into another level down, and then keep on going down to your, what color the socks are,
Yeah, right. Truly, or what are the different channels that you're going to use to present this material? Like, say you're doing a marketing outline. Okay, what am I presenting? What are my products? Who are my personnel? How am I channeling this? What are my marketing channels? What's my software? All these things can be broken down into an outline that says, okay, here's what the project looks like. And then, once again, you have a process.
Yeah, you have a process and a sketch. You know where you're going,
Mhm.
and you can always change it. That outline, the first outline, when you're going through it, it may change direction. The theme of what you're doing might change, and
Yeah.
then those things don't. So you don't have much invested in it. You can copy your list, edit something, delete something. That doesn't make
Yes.
any sense.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I hope your outline does change as we go along, because then that means that it's a living work and not just some, document that you consider to be sacred that can't be changed. I mean, it's like I say about a plan, it's something to refer to.
Yeah, something to refer to.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use the PowerPoint analogy, like with PowerPoint slides.
Hmm.
The thing, if you've ever done in like PowerPoint or any of those things, you got the little thumbnails about each image on the slide. You can drag them up. You can rearrange them easily, right? Same with
Yes.
your outline. You
Right.
can move things up, move things down,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think it really can prevent paralysis. Like if you like when I was writing essays, I'd wait around for inspiration to happen and then I would write it, right? But if you start outlining and brainstorming ideas, and then it just gets things moving right
Yeah.
away. Yeah.
Right. And that's the name of the game, is to create the momentum. First, when you have the clarity and you go, okay, now let's go to item 1B, and then you break that down, you got clarity on item 1B, it kind of almost writes itself. The momentum is there. You're not having to figure out where it goes. You already did that. And so you're on to the next stage. And your mind and your creative process recognizes that kind of order and uses it to build the more detailed explanation of your topic.
Yeah, almost writes itself. I think I that's my experience. If you've got an outline there and you've got a topic, you go
Mhm.
back there, it says, I don't remember why I put that there, but it made sense. And there's sometimes all you need to do is write one or two paragraphs to go with it in that little
Mhm.
section. I
Mhm.
don't know if you're putting images in or not, but just from a
There
pure
it
writing
is.
point of view, a
Yeah.
couple of sentences, then you're off to go. And the same with the course
Mhm.
module. So because the course modules don't have to be extensive. You just have to have a topic for something, and it could be something somebody can go through in 15 minutes. So it doesn't have to be overwhelming for either you or for the person going through the course.
Yeah, and then that's, of course, part of what you want in a course, is that it's not overwhelming to the student, that they're able to pick out that piece of knowledge, absorb it, act on it, and anchor it in their mind, so that then when they go to the next piece of knowledge, it all makes sense. And that's where the structure is really important, because you want the ideas to flow from one to the next.
Yeah, to flow from one to the next. And you were speaking about structure, and that in terms of like a nonfiction book with the table of contents,
Mhm.
your outline more likely is going to end up being your table of contents. And
Mhm.
so people can take a look and they can go skim through the first thing and find out what's there.
Mhm.
And they might not read it linearly. You might start says, okay, I'm interested in chapter 5. you know
Right.
I want to fix something. Chapter 5 is about that. So
Mhm.
that's where some structured aids like a table of contents or uh, index at the end, all those things can help find stuff.
Yep.
Not so important for a reader of fiction, but kind of important if you're trying to write about those things later. So
Yeah, 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 yeah. For a lot of business or technical or knowledge topics, having an index or and footnotes and things of that nature is really important, because you don't want to put the whole concept in the body of the book. It might be too boring. Maybe someone's not interested in that particular topic, but if they are interested, then they can click back, or not click back, but refer to the footnote section or the index or wherever, and find further depth and other references to get them the understanding that they want to get.
for sure. And now in some modern publications like ebook, some of those things can be clickable to get back
Yes,
into things. Yeah.
yes, they can.
I can't remember what book it was in. It was a technical manual on something, and anyway, it had in the index, it had a section says, "See parrot, comma, dead." It was a reference to a skit in Monty Python.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It's one of these things, little treasures, just to
Mhm.
see where the amusing parts are.
Yeah, that's silly. Yeah, and silliness could be great. It can be great, and I mean, the idea of a topic outline and everything may seem very dry and boring at first. It's like, look, I'm excited. I just want to write this. I'll tell you, is at some point you're going to hit a wall. Everybody does, no matter what the writing project is. And having an outline can be very helpful because then you go, oh, it's not just this moment. I thought this out beforehand. I anticipated that there was going to be some form of an issue because, like I said, they always come up, and I can go here to say, this is what I need to do next, instead of trying to figure it out in that moment where you're going, what in the world is going on?
Yeah. So you mentioned that it could be you could think of those outlines as being a little bit dry and academic, but I prefer to think of it as structured brainstorming.
Yes.
You got an idea and you just keep on going. Like some people will use a mind map. They'll create a mind map with it. It's very fairly similar, and you just go um, run with it. And
Mhm.
also, as you mentioned, there could be an issue. Like you could put something on in your outline that you realize is going to require some investigation or thought about it. So you can put a comment right about that right there. This
Um,
could be problematic or something.
mhm.
So that then when you go back later, when you're maybe didn't remember exactly why you put that thing in there, there's a little comment to remind you. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, that's right, because you can really easily get lost in the forest of ideas and go, wait a minute, I thought I just saw that tree a minute ago, but actually the tree is back there or it's further up the trail or something. When you have the map, you go, oh, that's where the tree is, and waste a bunch of energy looking for it. I mean, that's one of the big keys of this, is that it's actually there to save you energy.
yeah, for sure. And I've had the experience where I've started to do something and then I realize I did something with this 10 years ago. And if I happen to have it written down, I'll go find it and take a look and, oh, okay, I don't have to invent it again.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah. And that's why it's good to, when you get a stream of ideas, you can write that down as a kind of a mini outline, even if you don't know where they're going to go next. As an example, when I wrote the Essential Excuse Handbook and I started diving into the topic more, I went, wait, what other notes do I have? And I found that I had 32 topics about procrastination that fit perfectly into this book that I had decided to write. So it can be really useful to just, have a list of the ideas you get. If they're related, put them on a Word document, put them in some kind of a folder that says maybe sometime or something like that, and
Yes,
then
maybe
you have it, Yeah,
this might be useful.
you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
I, I've um I've known some bands who they like to just go into the studio and they jam, right?
Hmm.
And record everything, right? And they just try random stuff. Most of it doesn't go anywhere. But once in a while they said, wow, that was a really good idea. Let's pull that out and see if we can develop that into a song.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's those little sketches. I mean, I have different folders on my desktop that say, scraps or humor, you know, desk photos, whatnot. And having that, just knowing that there's a place where it might be when you need an idea is a nice resource. It's not directly related to the outline concept, but it is all kind of related, because I think the big point here is that creating a system, whether it's a classical outline, which I learned how to do that in third grade, and this is just this is what you do, so I always do that. But if you're a mind map person, that's great. There's people who love flow charts and other types of tools, and I've looked at all of those and kind of gone, okay, well, that looks nice. It doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't really resonate for me. But on the other hand, for some people, like I said, a classical outline seems to like it couldn't be fluid, but actually it can be very fluid. You can move stuff around.
Yeah, you can move stuff along. And it's
Mhm.
also very helpful in our team situation.
Yeah.
So with this course, you've sat down with the client, you come up with an outline for the course
Mhm.
modules. Then
Mhm.
at some point, I'm going to actually create the course, and then there might be some videos or something that we need to shoot, and
Mhm.
it's all in the outline and the plan. So
Yeah, it's all in the outline. And
yeah,
then when she needs to do something, she goes in there and says, "Oh, I need to record an audio meditation. I need to do this. I need to do that." And everybody who's on the team knows what the flow is and what the tasks are. It's all right there for us.
yeah. Yeah, and somewhat related to that is in the way we work with our clients in general is one of the first things we do is try to figure out where they're at and where they want to go and create a little bit of a roadmap. So that roadmap, in a way, is a kind of outline.
Yeah.
So and it's a living document. That's where we start. You know, our first impression is this is what we're going to do, and then we'll
Mhm.
expand it and edit it and change it.
Yeah.
And then that, then each one of those one little item in the roadmap could actually be a whole, project, it's a mini project in itself, like
Yeah.
the course, right? So,
Mhm.
this one client, we have social media strategies, blogging strategies, and a course to create, and all those things. And we tried to coordinate them so they all row together.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And on that note, what we're actually using is um, Google Drive, which in a certain sense is an outline format of its own, because each one of those things is on a folder within a larger folder within of the master folder and so on. And therefore, there is a map to navigate from one process to
Yeah.
another. And it's very handy to be able to share because I think we have how many people on this team? 5. So we need to
Yeah.
be able to do this. Yeah.
I think in the last team meeting, we said, I think we need more folders. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it gets, because the one folder gets too big and unwieldy because it's not specific enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
So that can go on forever. So yeah, I use that for almost everything. Google Drive for, almost the first thing I do if I had a new client, I set up a Google Drive, share it with everybody, and
Mhm.
try to create a structure for it. And that's a place where we can collect and share materials.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a pretty handy tool. We do it with our story productions too. Upload family photos,
Mhm.
videos, audio recordings, all that kind of stuff. And then all of that stuff can be combined in various formats later. But it's one place where you can store it.
Yep. Yeah. And it's very handy because at the top of the drive page, you can type in a word and it'll tell you, oh, it's right here, and then you click on it and then you're there. It's like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Google knows a little bit about searching for things.
Right.
That's
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
handy.
Mhm. Yeah. So I always have my clients use that too, and I occasionally I have clients who are not able to make that leap because they're just not tech savvy, and so I work with them on that. Sometimes I have
Yeah,
people who email me their content within the body of an email, and I'm like, okay, like I like to say, I meet you where you are and grow with you.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. So for you and I, we'll put it all into organized Google Drive, but they don't necessarily have to
yeah,
go
exactly.
there because
Do
some
it.
people, yeah, some people will. They just want things in email or
Hmm.
talk to them on the phone about it.
That's right. Yeah,
Everybody's a little bit different on that.
very true. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
that's a good example, Greg, because I have one person who likes to talk on the phone and then email me her content within the body of an email. And then I take and put it in the folder for my own system and everything. And all she has to do is spill the beans, so to speak.
spill the beans. Yeah, there we go.
Mhm.
So speaking of meeting where people are, I used to run a office newsletter that probably put out once a month or something. And the head of the accounting department wanted to write an article for the newsletter. So she was comfortable with Excel, so she wrote her article as a cell in an Excel spreadsheet. That's what she said.
That's a new one.
Yeah, so well, okay, whatever works, it works. So it's just,
Mhm.
for me, I if somebody, I actually tried to get people not to format anything, because the first thing I did is strip all the formatting out and redo it again.
Yeah.
So that's when then email was easy, because most people would just write it in email and it would be off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was fun. It sent me an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah. I've never heard of that one before.
But that's kind of like on a Windows computer, how do you get to the home screen? And somebody said Control Alt Delete. Well, you can get there, but that's maybe not the most craziest way of getting there.
Yeah.
Reboot the whole computer to get back to the home screen. There should be a better way.
Yes, there should be a better way than that. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
there's always something new to learn.
always something new to learn. Well, I hope people don't learn that.
Yes, really. Don't teach them that to do that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Says, well, what's the force? You forgot what I just said. Don't remember that. Men in
Right.
Black.
You forgot what I just said. Yeah, I've been there. I still visit there occasionally. You forgot what I just said.
Yeah. So is there any other uh key tips about outlining, other than just start simple and it's a good
Yeah.
practice?
Well, you can start with a brain dump. Just take everything that's in your head that's drifting around, put it all on a piece of paper, and don't worry about the order of it. And then you can go back to it and say, wait, what's the progress here? What's the progression? And see how the ideas relate to one another. I mean, sometimes I have a client who's in exactly that condition. And then once we figure out where everything goes, once again, we can figure out what to do and do it.
Even do it. And
Mhm.
going back to people who like being on the phone, there are various tools like Otter and various things where, and even just a phone, read in the voice memo,
Mhm.
and just you read your ideas into the voice memo, and then sort it out later. Pay
Yeah.
somebody to sort it out later.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Or yeah, voice to text software of different kinds can be really useful for that kind of stuff. If you're not a write it down person, or I mean, for me, I open a Word document and go, okay, just fire away. Or index cards. I mean,
Index cards, yeah.
I really believe in index cards. I have a whole pile of them right here with different projects at different levels, and then maybe probably once a week I go through the stack and go, okay, which one of these got done and can get thrown away. But index cards are great for that. What I recommend, the 1 minute brain dump, where everything that's related to your topic, you set your phone timer for 1 minute, dump it all out onto that index card, and then at the end of the minute, stop.
Okay.
Go back and circle the things that seem to correlate with one another, that are related to one another, and do this 2 or 3 or 4 times, maybe over a course of a couple of days, and you'll start having a pattern there where things can start to make sense. And then
That's
from there,
awesome.
build an outline.
That's really a good idea.
It works.
Yeah.
It works. I mean, even for brainstorming your title, and then, like I say, if the idea comes up more than once, just write it down, because then it's important. And sometimes with title brainstorming, moving 1 or 2 words around can make a lot of difference in how the title lands in someone's mind.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah.
fooling around with it by doing these brain dumps, and you'll start to get more clarity, because it's compressed. Don't think, just write. Don't think, just write. And then
Yeah.
it just comes out.
Just comes out.
Mhm.
And then when you have all those ideas and you want to formulate it into a book or a course, then call Betty.
Yeah. All Betty. Yes. Get in touch with me. Find me on LinkedIn. Find me on Facebook. Go to www.thewriterslaunchpad.com and schedule a time to talk with me for 30 minutes, and let's go over your idea.
Yeah. That's fabulous. And so maybe you can just sort of summarize the kinds of services you provide, like yeah.
Sure, gladly. I provide ghostwriting of different kinds, everything from content creation all the way up to full-length books. That includes email series, landing pages, drip sequences, PowerPoints and PowerPoint editing, all those types of things. I'm a book writing coach. So if you have an idea and you have something written, but you don't really quite know what to do with it, that's an ideal place to jump into it and really develop your idea. I also do editing for different kinds of projects, and I'm a speaker, and but those are the services I provide as the Writer's Launchpad.
Yeah, for sure. And we were talking about the different kinds of editing. One of the ones you like doing is developmental editing, because that's the important part of the process for a lot of that.
Yes, developmental editing is actually the core of the whole process, and that's where having a real outline can really be useful. I had a woman that I'm working with right now who had a first draft, and it was very, very dense and needed some work to stop having it be repetitive and so on. So I provided her with a whole outline of, I think, 30 different things to work through, and what my feedback was about how to simplify it and so on. And she's breaking it down into groups of 5 or 10, depending on what her pace is at the time. And it's making sense, and she's just flowing through it instead of being stuck. So that's what an outline can do.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, it's one of the best tools for getting almost any project moving forward in an organized way, and from brainstorming to clarification, all of that, everything there. So if you're interested in learning more about what we do, you can go to totaltrafficandconversion.com. We have a few services. We got various broadcasts like this one here will show up on that page on the website,
right,
as a blog post. And anyway, as we usually say, just do it. Go out and start outlining. Doesn't matter what the tool is, anything that is comfortable with you. It could be paper, could be some kind of note system, could be a word processor, even writing things in an email and sending it to yourself. That can work too.
That does work.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to play your little pretty video here just because we like it, and go off and enjoy your day. So.
Right. Indeed.